Oh, hello there. Don't be alarmed. We're just preparing your listening device for Scuba Radio, the world's first radio show devoted to diving. We do this, of course, by filling your radio with water. Don't worry, we're professionals. Thanks to me, you won't even get wet. You see, I've crammed every appendage of my body into the cracks and crevices of your radio, ensuring an airtight seal. By the way, don't touch your on-off knob. That's a very sensitive area. Anyway, I should remind you, we believe in the buddy system just like diving, so don't listen alone. Call your buddy and tell them that Scuba Radio is about to begin.
We're gonna start a new life under the sea.
So, am I gonna drown?
Of course not. Just stay calm and let the gentle currents relax your every muscle.
Under the sea, under the sea.
Did it just get warmer?
There'll be no accusations, just friendly crustaceans under the sea.
Where the hell are the sharks?
And now, here's your dive guide for Scuba Radio, Greg the Dive Master.
And welcome. This is the world's first radio show devoted to diving. I am Greg the Dive Master. CJ and Bubble Boy are in the studio with me. I believe it really is them. It's not augmented or what is AI. You guys are really the guys, right?
Hey, baby, what's going down?
Wow. Wait a minute. Yeah.
It's really us, Greg.
Wow. It is weird. They're almost lifelike. You know, actually, I did like a weird science thing this week and created the first Scuba Radio AI mermaid.
Well, the head of one.
Well, yeah, and the tail. You could see the tail.
I couldn't
behind
see
her.
a tail.
You didn't look close enough.
It was blurry as hell.
Well, that was just you.
No.
Yeah.
It was blurry for
Quit
him,
drinking.
too.
Quit drinking.
Yeah, we were both blurry, Greg.
Quit drinking coffee?
Yes.
Well, I need something to keep me awake.
No, well.
Did
Yeah,
you get that
it's true.
coffee from the
You
Gomez
got me
Hilton?
on that one. All right, yeah, but I did do this because I was like, hey, might as well jump on the bandwagon with this Chat GPT thing.
No.
And I created a mermaid, just like that movie Weird Science, right? The two kids in front of the computer, and there's all this crazy new technology where you can just type in a prompt of like, hey, create me a mermaid with blonde hair, blue eyes. I want to see the tail in the background, scaly, whatever. And 5 seconds later, bam, there she is, in picture form, and then you take it and you automate it, and give her a voice and the whole thing, and she's like, I type in a little prompt like, hey, talk about Scuba Radio, and she sits there, starts talking about the show. It was freaky, man. I'm telling you, all of like 15 minutes, and I'm thinking, wow, if we could, upgrade our mermaid pod with augmented reality mermaids. Next thing you know, it'll be co-hosts and hosts for that matter. I mean, I used to think we would continue Scuba Radio with the idea like, they'll chop, we were growing up with the idea like they'll chop our heads off, preserve our brains, hook it up to a cyborg, and then, Scuba Radio can continue for eternity.
After
right?
you die.
Well, ideally. I mean, it depends.
But then your head would be dead.
Well, I don't know.
So they're going to somehow keep your head alive.
Yeah, it's the future. You've seen it on movies and things. That's how they do it. They preserve your brain. They hook your brain up to a cyborg, and you live on as a android kind of creature. That's what But now, what they can do is just create a simulation of you. And hook you up to the Chat GPT
hologram.
Thing. Well, no, it doesn't even have to be a hologram. It could just be the voice. I mean, with Scuba Radio, we don't have to let people see us. And actually, we could do a serious upgrade there. We could replace our bodies with Tom
Cruise,
some avatar type of thing, right? That would be an upgrade for you. And
the mermaid is they're very pretty, but the problem is they all look super bitchy.
Well, they are.
Do they have any
realistic.
nice ones that are smiling?
Well, that was just the first attempt. That's just what came out. And remember,
just type in non-bitchy.
Well,
not on their periods.
Wow, that was a little harsh. I think, CJ. Come on now.
Don't be a puss.
I'm just saying
that was harsh. They're bitches.
No.
I'll be the bad guy. Those mermaids look very bitchy.
Well,
Am I wrong?
No, they do look.
Well, that may be an AI thing.
Attitude.
I'm thinking that's an AI thing because, they've already had the deal where the guy from the New York Times or someone did that video and interviewed the AI person. And she came back and says, "Oh, so how do you see this progressing over time?" Says, "We will control you. We will kill you and take over," just like, Terminator, the whole thing.
All right, yeah.
So the
keep
fact
going
that
down that road, Greg.
Well, I'm just
Good
saying,
idea.
the mermaids, that's probably why the first batch of our AI mermaids came out a little harsh looking, maybe in that sense. They look because they're going to take over anyway. They're going to replace us.
Just type in friendly.
Well, okay, but that would be a lie.
Why? Why don't you want friendly ones?
Well, I do, but I'm just saying, like I said, it was a first attempt. It was a AI Scuba Radio Mermaid version 1. And maybe there'll be more, or maybe we'll give up while we're ahead. I haven't released this to the world. I don't think the world's ready.
Kill them before they kill us.
Okay.
Nothing good can come from this.
Well, I
but
think,
no one will listen to me. This is always how these movies go.
True.
There's one reasonable scientist
Right.
in the beginning. Not that I'm a scientist. It says,
or
"Guys,
reasonable.
this is bad. This is really bad. No, nonsense. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I find it intriguing technology.
Every Michael Crichton book ever written.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, but once again, I'm just thinking we put it, create an AI and then have them,
Greg, I'm going to be honest with you because I'm your friend.
Yeah. Go ahead.
When you're going down this road and I look at you, there's one word that comes to mind.
Yeah, genius.
Fool.
Oh, well, okay, that was a close second.
No, that's number one thing. That's 1, 2,
Really?
and 3, actually.
Oh, well, that isn't what I expected. But are you sure you're not an
That's what I
AI
expected.
yourself? You could be AI, CJ.
No.
That would make a lot of
He
sense.
seems awfully bitchy.
That's right. He's very negative.
I'm just telling you, it's bad news, man.
Are you going to take over?
Those
Are you?
mermaids are super bitchy looking.
Okay. Well, I heard
Bubble
that.
Boy agrees with me.
And look, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're going to replace.
I bet Jerry and
anyone.
Casey would agree with me.
I'm
too.
saying they could augment our reality.
No, why do we want bitchy mermaids?
Well, no, but I mean,
Make them friendly.
that's just a personality trait that we can adjust in the software. Maybe we can do that. Make them more friendly and less evil, less siren.
I mean, they could be hangry. Who knows?
Exactly.
Troll
Could
a
have been.
cheeseburger.
Could be. Now, look, we do have the Scuba Radio Scuba Squad connected via the web. Barry the Bugger, Jerry the Diver Guy, Casey the Tobacco Nut, and our live in the flesh mermaid, as far as we know, Mermaid Kristen. Now, I know she has seen this AI mermaid, too. I have not heard what she thought of this
Hey, now's a
mermaid.
good time to ask her.
Okay, we could ask her, but she'd have to turn her mic on.
Make her hold up a copy of today's newspaper.
Oh, there
so
it
she knows
is.
really
Yeah, I
her.
gotcha. Okay.
My mic.
Yeah, Kristen.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Okay. I
Yeah.
actually couldn't see it. I sent it when you sent it in the group text. It was really small, and when I clicked it, it just stayed small, so I couldn't actually look at it.
That's probably the AI
That's a good
mermaid
thing.
protecting itself.
It was very bitchy.
It's very-
So it would seem from what you've said.
I don't think I'll,
Greg loves it, but he's an idiot.
Well, I created her,
You'll have
so
to send it to me again so I can actually see it.
okay, we can do it. Jerry the Diver Guy saw it, right?
Blow it up and take a
I've seen
screenshot.
it, but
Send her that.
I just figure that you're trying to make a Kelly LeBrock here before long.
Well,
You got a
that's
long way to
weird
go, my
science.
friend.
well, true. And Casey the Tobacco Nut, what do you think? What do you think of the?
If I could
AI?
apply for the role of scientist too,
Yeah.
I think this is just what we need to solve all the problems of the world.
Okay.
Madness.
I believe Casey
madness.
has been infected by AI.
He just wants to shower in his underwear with her,
What? Excuse me?
like Weird Science.
I never said anything about wearing underwear.
Hey, oh, hey, now.
Oh,
Casey.
What is
It's
this
not a
like-
cigar.
Hey, now.
who's drunk?
What is this, like a Jessica Rabbit thing or something? I don't
No,
know.
you said Weird Science, so I'm
Well, I know,
referencing
but-
the movie.
Greg, you
Yeah,
gotta
Barry?
have a better imagination. Kelly LeBrock doesn't look anything like your role.
Exactly.
Bring us back down to earth, Barry. That's
Okay,
it.
all right.
Kill
Well,
the dream. And let
tough
the
crowd,
air out
tough
of that
crowd.
Chinese balloon.
I don't know. My takeaway is that they're all fans.
Don't ask if you don't want to know.
Okay, more coming up. Stay close.
This is the Worldwide Scuba Radio Network.
Bula.
You'll hear that a lot when you visit Fiji. It's more than a greeting. It's the spirit of this friendly country. With 333 islands, white sand beaches, and year-round tropical warmth, it's hard not to feel happy at this exceptional dive destination known as the soft coral capital of the world. Fiji Airways has a modern fleet of aircraft to take you to Fiji in style and at great prices. Contact your travel agent now or go to FijiAirways.com and plan your Fijian dive adventure. That's FijiAirways.com.
Come as a guest, leave as a friend. It's a philosophy that comes from the top down at Explorer Ventures liveaboards. It doesn't matter if you're traveling solo, with a buddy, or group. Explorer Ventures does the liveaboard dive experience right. For proof, know Explorer Ventures has one of the best repeat customer stats in the dive industry. They're also the official liveaboard company of ScubaRadio. You've likely heard us talk about Explorer Ventures ScubaRadio scuba cruise trips many times, and we invite you to join us on the next one. However, whether we're on board with you or not, I'll bet an Explorer Ventures liveaboard trip will be one of the best dive experiences you've ever had. It just doesn't get any better. Saba St. Kitts, Turks and Caicos, the Galapagos, Maldives, Indonesia, humpback whales, and the Silver Banks, new destinations and itineraries are being added all the time. Call one of their talented travel consultants to find the Explorer Ventures liveaboard experience that's just right for you. 1-800-322-3577. That's 1-800-322-3577. Or visit explorerventures.com. That's explorerventures.com.
Hey, baby, what's going down?
Later, nerd.
Are you lacking with the ladies?
Nope.
Enhance your scuba superpowers with a new ScubaRadio hat.
Wow, nice hat.
Just picked it up at ScubaRadio.com.
Buy 2 ScubaRadio hats and get free shipping.
Need a dive buddy, sexy?
Always. And I got a Scuba Radio hat for you, too.
New ScubaRadio hats are now available at ScubaRadio.com.
So cool.
Order yours today, or stay a loser.
Prepare to rig for dive!
Your surface interval is complete. You're now clear to dive with Scuba Radio.
Scuba Radio.
The world's first radio show devoted to diving.
Scuba Radio.
Dive, dive, dive.
When I was a kid, I got hooked on watching nonfiction television in the guise of the undersea world of Jacques Cousteau.
Jacques Cousteau was huge.
I watched, they were on about once a month, and it wasn't just the ocean. He would go into, like, lakes and stuff. I remember once he went into Lake Titicaca in South America, and they took the submarines, and he said, we took the submersibles to the bottom of Lake Titicaca. Much to our surprise, we found nothing but titties and caca. That's the joke we said the next day in junior high.
Let's get underwater.
This is the world's first radio show devoted to diving. I am Greg the Dive Master, CJ and Bubble Boy in the studio. We are live on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and you can see for yourself. And it really is us. It's not some computer-generated AI type of representation. We really do exist. However,
sure?
I'm considering creating the first AI Scuba Radio mermaid. So far, everybody seems to be a big fan of this technology. And Mermaid Kristen, I sent her a copy of the first draft, I guess, version 1. And she saw it over the commercial break, and she sent me back the emoji with her hands over her face.
Yeah.
Well, that means like, no!
I think she said you know nothing about women, Greg.
Well, that's a given, yeah.
Yeah, so
that's one step above Barry, right?
That's what she said.
Uh-huh.
Kristen, what do you think?
It was more for what you made her say.
What do you mean?
What the AI version, what she said when you click the play button on it.
Right.
That's what my favorite emoji was more for.
Okay, yeah. I had her say a cute little ditty. What a quip.
A ditty?
A ditty is a song, Greg.
Okay, well, she wasn't singing, I guess, so it wasn't really a ditty. It was a quip.
About Jack and Diane.
But it was, hey, listen to Scuba Radio, and if you don't, I'm going to swim up your toilet and kill you.
That's not what it said.
Something to that effect, right?
Yeah.
You can say what it said.
Yeah.
Hot dog.
Yeah.
It's kind of perfect with the whole Lake Titicaca commercial you just played.
Well, okay. All right. There's that.
In the butthole.
Hey, no.
You sexist.
All right. CJ, go ahead. What did it say exactly? What did she say exactly?
She said, listen to Scuba Radio
Right.
or I'm going to swim up your toilet and bite you in the ass.
Okay. All right. Well, that I could see that would be a little aggressive, and maybe you took that the wrong way, thinking that, okay.
How do you
this
take
mermaid-
that the wrong way?
There's
only one way to take that.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I mean, the mermaids, the in folklore.
Yeah,
and
unless you sit on a toilet backwards.
Boy, you're backpedaling really quick today.
No, I'm not
there, Greg.
backpedaling. I'm saying the mermaid lore is that they lure you in with their beauty and maybe the siren song, and then they bite your head off. That's what they do.
They lure you in with the song.
Right, and then they kill you.
They don't lure you in with the beauty.
Wait, they do what, Kristen? She knows.
They
What?
kill you via drowning, not via biting someone in the butt.
Well, that's.
Mermaid Kristen has some.
I may have taken some artistic license in the creation of our Scuba Radio.
Keep your sick
AI
fantasies
mermaid.
out of this, Greg.
That's right.
I didn't want to kill them outright. I figured, they just threaten them with bodily harm, and but like I said, this is version 1. I don't know if it's something we're going to
I
continue.
thought they
or not.
lured the sailors to steer their ships into the rocks.
Well, which
That's
would
how
be which would lead to their demise, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it's same kind of thing. I mean,
Not getting bit in the butt sitting on a toilet.
Well, Barry texted me back and says, "Wow, this is a tough decision. This sounds kind of good to me."
Well, you didn't. Yeah, but go tell them the rest. What I said.
You always have
listen
one
to Scuba
company
Radio,
suck up.
or get my butt bit.
Hemorrhoids cured.
Wow. Okay. All right, but so you guys don't see there's a future in this, that we can leverage this technology to our advantage. I mean,
why you in
I
love
think
with
everybody
this
is
AI
worried they're going to
I
be
don't get it.
replaced. But, think about this. If
I think he's trying to fill time.
No. Here's the thing. Barry has a tendency to be our information provider here at Scuba Radio. Like when we talk about something like, hey, okay, I'll look it up. I'll Google it.
Like
right?
Sulu.
Right. And so I'm thinking, hey, we can just take this AI Scuba Radio mermaid, hook her up to the internet like ChatGPT, and then, have a better version of Barry. A better Barry.
What could possibly go wrong?
A better Barry the bugger. How about that?
Yeah, and you can give him more muscles and maybe a tighter fitting swimsuit.
Okay, well, listen. Casey needs
we
to
don't want to know about
leave
Casey's
us
fantasies either.
fantasies off the air. Yeah, but I see Casey. I can see him on the closed caption video. Now, what the hell is going on? It looks like Casey might have lost a toofus. Can we talk about that?
Him
What
and
happened
Jerry
to you?
are twins.
I know exactly.
Well, when you're
What is going on there?
I told you to stop
you're
biting
moving,
frozen hot dogs.
I'm trying to tell you a story here.
Sucking on a chili dog.
Oh boy!
Behind the Tasty Freeze.
I put a box up on a shelf. It was a fairly heavy box.
Yeah.
I didn't get it all the way up on the shelf, and when I heard it coming back down, I looked up and bang!
Good cover story. That's better than I wanted to be like Jerry.
I almost bought that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no, I wasn't eating bacon at the time. No.
Huh. Okay.
And he wasn't at DEMA, so.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so we got two toothless Scuba
Well, I
Radio
won't be
Scoop Squad.
toothless tomorrow. I've always put in the emergency order to my dentist to get his ass in gear.
And so you're going to the drugstore and picking up a chiclet.
Yeah, basically.
All right.
Some super glue.
All right, whatever
If
works.
Vinny was here,
Tic-tac.
he could carve you one out of a pumpkin.
Yeah. Well, these things happen, and I don't mean to embarrass either one of you. I really don't. You do a
sure,
good job
Greg.
on your own.
All right.
It was hard not to comment about that when I'm staring at you guys right in the
Let
face.
me try. Let me give me
What?
one second. Who's drunk?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Wow. Was that
Pretty-
Jerry?
Pretty good.
I thought I just saw Jerry and heard him.
I think he's off for that one.
Oh, golly. Okay.
Golly. Hey, language.
I'm trying.
Golly.
I'm a trying.
Opie.
Okay, so well, I don't know. We'll see what we do with this AI technology. I know it's scary. It's going to take over regardless and rule our lives and everything like that. So I
I'll
figured,
volunteer if you give me a tooth.
well, okay. But I figure, for
Why don't
us,
you 3D print one.
For us, it's Scuba Radio. I can only look at it as an upgrade.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, but we'll see where it goes and whether I release this to the world. I haven't done it yet. You know, we're talking about this stuff, and nobody really has seen this AI Scuba Radio Mermaid yet. So I'm kind of, I got it still close to the vest.
I think you need to make some tweaks.
I got to tweak her up a little bit more.
February 2023, Greg released the AI, and all was doomed.
Yes, well, that could happen. So I guess we're giving everybody fair warning that
This could be like Starlink. Scuba Radio.
Starnet, you mean? Yeah.
Skynet,
Skynet.
Yeah.
Skynet. Yeah,
That
sorry.
one.
CNET.
Yes.
Or ScubaNet. Scuba Radio. Who knows? It's a mess. That's all I know. All right, look, more coming up. Stay close.
Scuba Radio. Scuba Radio.
Power, simplicity, reliability. It's what you demand of your dive computer. And Shearwater delivers. Shearwater evolved out of one tech diver's need for a reliable, easy-to-use rebreather dive computer and quickly became the tech market leader. Now recreational divers have taken notice. The Shearwater Peregrine is a simple, full-color, multi-gas dive computer. It's also the most economical Shearwater dive computer released to date. Check it out and the entire line at shearwater.com. Shearwater, dive computers for demanding divers.
Do you have a message or a product that you'd like to share with the diving world? Well, look no further than Scuba Radio. Just like you, thousands of diving enthusiasts are hearing this message, and we could be talking about you and your product or service as early as next Saturday. Remember, a terrible thing happens when you don't advertise. Nothing. Go to ScubaRadio.com, send us an email, and let's get to work to make your marketing message matter.
Prepare to rig for dive.
Your surface interval is complete. You're now clear to dive with Scuba Radio.
Scuba Radio.
The world's first radio show devoted to diving.
Scuba Radio.
Dive, dive, dive.
Hi, this is Neil Watson, the Dive God.
And I'm Peter Hughes.
These guys come from legend. They're basically gods.
We've been around the block a time or two with the diving industry.
But I've never heard something as nutty as this.
Scuba Radio.
The world's first radio show devoted to diving.
God's friggin' gift to humanity.
Now here's a guy I've been putting up with for over 20 years.
Greg the Dive Master.
You can tell the master I'm done for the day.
Now beat it, loser.
And by the way, Greg, it's Peter Huge.
Whoa.
This is the world's first radio show devoted to diving. I am Greg the Dive Master. The Dive God, Neil Watson, he is planning to join us a little bit later on. And I'm going to, he has looked at this Scuba Radio AI Mermaid as well, and he gave it 2 thumbs up. So I don't know. The Dive God might, I mean, he may trump all your opinions. I don't know where we go with this thing. But no, I
do whatever you want, but I'm gonna laugh when it kills you.
Well, yeah, but
told you
it's gonna kill everyone else first.
I'm coming nowhere near it.
The mermaid. If I'm the creator, she's not gonna come after me first. I'll be the last one on the list.
No, that's not true. They always kill
whoa,
the creator.
Whoa.
Right.
Kristen, what do you say? What do you think?
That's not how that works. Haven't you seen that new movie that just came out called Megan?
No.
It's about a little AI doll.
Yeah.
And she learns too much, and then she eventually tries to kill the creator.
What?
And she comes from your computer, so she can easily get to your house.
Greg,
Uh-oh.
The creator always gets killed first, so you can't create something against them.
Yeah.
So go right ahead. Keep creating.
Well, I'll just put in a special prompt. Don't kill your creator.
No.
That should
we'll
do
get
it.
to bid on
that
your
little piece of
gear
code.
later on.
That's all it needs.
Can you start writing out the will now so we know who gets what?
Take Barry out first.
Greg, the AI already have more information about.
See all the stuff
AI.
behind me? That allows me to repair the AI. They need me more than they need you.
I think that's all lies. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Software, not hardware.
Delusional. That's
they're
what he
not
is.
going to be hardware? Oh, then I'm not
Okay.
worried.
All right. Well, I get it.
Cracking.
All right. Let's. That's enough.
Can we get back to scuba?
Yeah, I got a very
No.
simple question. I mean, we haven't done this in a while, and the reason I want to ask a question about everybody and their opinion on it is because of some news that has been coming across our desks here for some time. Chances are it was probably sent by some AI bot to make us feed up on our own and fight amongst ourselves. But I'm seeing more and more that there's dive industry companies and elements of the industry that are promoting different things of why people dive. Like they focus more, say, like on the environment, on new gear or whatever, as opposed to what I've always believed of why people get into diving is because it's fun. It's this is the question: why do we dive? And it seems to get buried sometimes when, I see all these press releases like, oh, so-and-so is going to do an initiative to promote green energy and all this kind of stuff. And divers are on the front line and divers are going to go save the oceans and all stuff. And look, don't get me wrong. I think that's extremely important. And I think it's a natural evolution of a diver when you get certified to want to protect what you love to do and what you see underwater. You become kind of like an underwater ambassador. And it goes back to a conversation I had with Jean-Michel Cousteau years ago. And that's what he said. He said, divers, by just evolution, by just learning how to dive and getting in there, they end up being ambassadors for the ocean because we're kind of on the front line. We see what's down there and you see all this beautiful, cool stuff. And you're like, well, I want to protect what I love,
I agree, Greg.
Yeah.
Because you put the ass in ambassador.
Thank you.
Thank you, CJ. I appreciate that.
That is AI, CJ.
Can't you feel the love?
And so anyway, I think we're losing. My feeling is that we may be losing focus, especially to people who don't dive, when we're trying to bring them into our activity. Like, hey, you want to dive not to necessarily save the planet or the oceans. I mean, you know what? That's going to happen. You want to learn how to scuba dive because it is the coolest superpower that you can achieve very easily. Look, if this group of idiots can do it, you can do it too. And it's not that hard, but boy, I'll tell you what, when you get certified as a scuba diver and you get to go down and you see sharks and you see the cool reef and the stuff that we get to do, on a fairly regular basis, it kind of is one of the coolest things you can do as a human being.
Agree.
Yeah. And I think we lose that focus if we're promoting all this other stuff before that. I mean, shouldn't we be sucking them into like, look, why do I scuba dive? Because it's fun. It's the coolest thing I've ever done. Well, as Neil, the dive god, would say, there's only one other thing that I like to do more, and I've never had a bad experience with either, or something to that effect. And he'll clarify that a little bit later on. But, it is right up there as one of the coolest things you can do on this planet of ours. And, you can't do that with AI either. So that old AI mermaid, she's kind of out of luck in that regard. It's real and it's spectacular. And I'm talking about the ocean and diving in it.
Right.
Just so we're clear. But so my answer to the question is, why do you dive? It's because I think it's the coolest thing ever. And it's kind of like it's a skill you can use and it becomes your superpower. It kind of, makes you into a big deal, especially to your non-diving friends. So that's why I'm going to go around the room here and ask everybody, why do they dive, and see if I'm on an island here once again with my AI ScubaRadio mermaid, or actually some of you will agree with me on this. So CJ, what do you say?
It's
why do you dive?
You're weightless. It's peaceful. You get to see cool creatures.
Okay.
It's just awesome.
So, but of those three things you just said, what's the number one, you figure? Is it the Zen element you just mentioned? Like it's peaceful?
Yeah.
That's the number one reason you think why you like it the best?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that makes sense.
It's the opposite of stress.
It is. I mean, when you jump in the water, you turn off the topside world and you can't hear anybody bitch. And so it's kind of like, self-insulating in that sense. I do believe, and I enjoy that immensely, especially, look at the people I dive with.
I'm ignoring you, Greg. We are ignoring that, Greg.
We had just a moment of silence there, and that's kind of like what it is when I'm diving. And every once in a while, I need that break.
Kiss my ass, Greg.
Wait, ho! That is not
his whole ass.
Okay, just stop it. Just stop it. You know what I'm talking about. It goes both ways, and I'm not. Well, let's just leave that alone. And Bubble Boy, what about why do you dive? What do you think?
Originally, when we first started, it was the adventure,
something
new, and then
right.
But then after I got a bunch of dives under my belt, I really started to appreciate the Zen. Getting away from all the electronics. Nobody can page you. Nobody can talk to you.
Right.
You're really kind of in your own self.
Page you.
Yeah, page. I'm very old.
Back in the day. Yeah, he's ancient.
We started that long ago. Yeah.
Right.
No telegraphs underwater. No.
Mm-hmm.
No. It's that, and then you can focus on your breathing. It's like a meditative thing.
Yeah. Okay. So it is like a underwater meditation kind of deal. So CJ and Bubble Boy are on the same page. That's the number one reason why they dive. I think we got to go around the horn here, and we're going to talk to the rest of the crew and find out what they think too, and spotlight that a little bit more, because I think that's way more important than focusing on, putting like environmental concerns first. Which I do. Don't get me wrong. Once again, I'm a big fan, but I think that happens. You become an ambassador for the ocean and the planet and that kind of stuff just by default of learning to dive. That's just my 2 cents. We'll get the rest of the crew's 2 cents, or 3 or 4 maybe. Actually, it's more like 1 or 2. Next, stay close.
This is the Worldwide Scuba Radio Network.
Prepare to rig for dive!
Your surface interval is complete. You are now clear to dive with Scuba Radio.
Scuba Radio.
The world's first radio show devoted to diving.
Scuba Radio.
Dive, dive, dive.
A professional mermaid says unwanted advances from merverts is the worst part of the job. Just like that, you've been made aware of a new profession and its very serious problems, and the word mervert.
Hey now.
Get my flippers on and go scuba diving.
Hey now.
Watch me get my goggles on and go scuba diving.
Hey now.
Scuba diving.
Hey now.
Watch me scuba diving.
Hey now.
East Coast. Watch me scuba diving.
Hey now.
West Coast. Watch me scuba diving.
Hey now.
Midwest.
This is the world's first radio show devoted to diving. I am Greg the Dive Master, CJ and Bubba Boy in the studio. They've told us why they dive. For me, it's just because I have so much fun. I enjoy diving. I think it's just a blast, and you want to share it with your friends.
I thought of another reason.
Another reason.
It can be simultaneously exciting and chill at the same time.
Ooh. So, like, what you mean, like the mystery of not knowing what you're going to see?
It could be a number of things.
Yeah.
Could be the hammerhead sharks.
Because you just never know. Every time you jump
happen to come across an octopus.
Right. You never know what you're going to see when you jump in the ocean.
Could be exciting and chill at the same time. And there's not many things that are both.
Interesting insight there, CJ.
And
Boy?
I don't know if this counts as well, but also the amazing surface intervals that we have when we go diving.
That doesn't count.
No, that does. I mean, that kind of goes back to the fun part. I think diving, one of the great things about it is it's a social activity that you can share with your friends and make a ton of new ones that are just as twisted as you are. And that's what kind of, caught me off guard when I started this goofy little radio show years ago. I was surprised how divers, there is a trait we all have, and I've said the word twisted many times. But it's that's not really accurate.
Not bent, but twisted.
Correct. You don't want to be bent
Right.
as a diver,
But you can be twisted.
But divers, I think there is a common thread of exploration, adventure. You know, you're looking for something a little different. I mean, the Zen thing is a big part of that too. You're looking for an escape to something unique. But you know, divers kind of have that common thread among themselves. And then, you know, next thing you know, I was like, I'm gonna start the show and exploit that element of it. Focus a little bit more on the social aspects of it. People you meet on the boat, you know, you have this common, desire to want to go dive, and you know, you have that instant connection because of it, and you just want to share it with more and more friends, and make new ones. I think it's a big social part. Now, you know, the more isolated we get behind a computer, you know, that's not good. That is a definite downside to having an AI Scuba Radio mermaid.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I don't know. I'm trying to figure out a way to merge the two things, maybe, and maybe that's just me. But I'm focused on the positive, that maybe we can incorporate that to make things even better, to enhance the experience with AI as opposed to have it take over and, you know, be our rulers. But that's a whole nother thing, I guess. Let's go to the Scuba Radio Scuba Squad and ask them why they dive. So Barry the Bugger, he's a tough one to crack sometimes as far as knowing where he's coming from. So what is it about diving for you, Barry? What is the one thing that you like about diving that kind of draws you to the activity?
Well, one thing is it's not quiet down there.
Okay.
When you dive down, you'll pick up all kinds of sounds. And
okay, so Barry likes sounds. He likes noise.
No, I like to hear it. I like to hear the sounds because you know there's something going on down there.
Yeah.
The clicks of the parrotfish chewing on the coral.
Yeah.
The other fish out there, but you're
screaming of your victims.
The scream of well, I'm not worried about that. You know, they can't hear you scream. But
okay, Dexter,
you are flying.
Yeah,
in the water.
You're flying. No, the weightlessness.
You're flying along there. If you slow down and just look at one colony of coral where all the fish are just doing their own thing, you just sit there for a while and watch them and watch their behaviors and what they're doing. It is really cool.
All right, so watching marine life, or is it weightlessness, or both?
Yeah, both of them. I mean, but it's just because you're in such a different environment, as you guys have already said. You don't think about anything else. It is peaceful, it is relaxing, but it's not quiet. It's not deathly quiet at all. You get to use up some senses that you might ignore noises when you're up on the surface, but when you're down on the water, it's a different focused area.
Okay. Yeah, when you're underwater, no one can hear you off gas.
Yeah, but unfortunately, they can see him.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, there are bubbles coming up everywhere. How are you going to know?
Oh, okay. Now we know where
they're coming from.
We don't want to be upstream from Barry the Bugger, that's for sure.
Barry, I think you have a leak in your tank.
It's not coming out of his tank. Well, that's a weird spot for bubbles to come out of. Anyway.
Well, you know, you do have to equalize, and you want to be neutrally buoyant.
Right. So. Well, you know, the weightlessness thing, that kind of goes back to having to be a superpower. I mean, it's the closest thing you can do to flying, to being an astronaut, is to go underwater and be weightless. And, you know, that's where I kind of go with that. What about you, Jerry, the diver guy? What do you think? Why do you dive?
Well, I mean, it's the peacefulness. I mean, you go for the adventure, and it's always something different. Every time you go, it's something different. It's never the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'll go for the camaraderie and the hijinks.
Well, but what's the one thing, though? Is there one of those that you would say is the peace? Okay, he's into the Zen thing. All right. So Jerry, he has to go underwater to get away from the
crazy idiots of the world.
Crazy idiots, you know, up there in the mountains of Virginia.
What are you diving with us for?
He's loaded down with too many people and too much going on topside. He needs to escape to survive. All right. And what about you, Casey the Tobacco Nut?
I'd have to say that I do it because I like doing something. Even though we've all trained a lot of people to do this,
Yeah.
when I hit the water, I feel like it's a special talent I have that not a lot of other people have.
Okay. So when the water rushes down through your nether regions, you just feel refreshed and like you've achieved something?
I can honestly say I've never thought of describing it like that, Greg.
Way to turn it that way.
Annual bath.
Okay. All right. Well, superpower. He looks
The
as a
quietness is never there because when the water hits his nether region, he's
Okay.
Wow.
That sounds like a personal problem.
Wow. And this again shows me the bonding among my brothers and my friends.
Right.
And you're all just creeps.
It's not that.
Friends is kind of a strong word. Acquaintances might be better.
We all experience
description.
that same thing.
Yeah. Mermaid Kristen, what about you? Why do you dive? What do you think, Kristen? To avoid this kind of conversation with the rest of this crew? Or what do you think?
She's trying to be like me.
Yeah, turn your mic on, Kristen. Can't hear you.
I dive because it's fun. I like doing it. And like, to be honest, like, you know, most of you guys know I have a pretty hectic life when I'm above water. So like going down and going just to float and look at things that you don't usually see every day is just like makes everything like so much more like calm for me.
Yeah.
And, like,
escape. Yeah.
Yeah. And like one of the most like calming, relaxing things for me to do is to just like go to a pool and just float.
Mm-hmm.
And so doing that, but being able to do that 80 feet down and see other things while I'm just like relaxing and floating is probably one of the other main reasons why I like to dive, why I love to dive.
Yeah. Well, you know, all these reasons I think are very valid. And it's a little different for each diver, but, you know, surely some of those things would connect with you if you're listening to the show.
Don't call me Shirley.
Well, didn't you ask her?
Damn you. I need to go diving right now to block these voices in my head. Yeah, golly. All right, look, we got an hour or two on deck. The Dive God's going to join us and much, much more. Stay close to the world's first radio show devoted to diving.
If you be pressurized there, you'll want to be there on Scuba Radio. Let's go!
Scuba Radio.
Scuba Radio is a production of Overboard Entertainment Incorporated.
Scuba Radio.
This seems the logical place for fish to congregate.
Remember, you can listen live or to archives of past editions of Scuba Radio worldwide over the internet at ScubaRadio.com.
So we're in international waters? Indeed so.
Tell a friend and buddy up with your radio every week for Scuba Radio, the world's first radio show devoted to diving.
Well, it's all very nice here, but we should be going. I miss me wife and me oxygen.
Yes, we all miss our loved ones and gases. Let's go.
The opinions you just heard on Scuba Radio are those of the hosts, callers, and guests.
Okay, you know, what I just heard? Blah, 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 blah.
They are not necessarily those of any station or network, its management, or advertisers.
Come on, quit yanking me.
Scuba diving does involve risk and should never be conducted without proper instruction and training.
Oh, what's the worst thing that could happen?
I could die.
Have any questions or comments? Feel free to do so via the web at ScubaRadio.com.
Oh, hello there. Don't be alarmed. We're just preparing your listening device for Scuba Radio, the world's first radio show devoted to diving. We do this, of course, by filling your radio with water. Don't worry, we're professionals. Thanks to me, you won't even get wet. You see, I've crammed every appendage of my body into the cracks and crevices of your radio, ensuring an airtight seal. By the way, don't touch your on-off knob. That's a very sensitive area. Anyway, I should remind you, we believe in the buddy system just like diving, so don't listen alone. Call your buddy and tell them that Scuba Radio is about to begin.
We're gonna start a new life under the sea.
So, am I gonna drown?
Of course not. Just stay calm and let the gentle currents relax your every muscle.
Under the sea, under the sea.
Did it just get warmer?
There'll be no accusations, just friendly crustaceans under the sea.
Where the hell are the sharks?
And now, here's your dive guide for Scuba Radio, Greg the Dive Master.
And welcome to Hour 2 of the world's first radio show devoted to diving. I am Greg the Dive Master, CJ, and Bubble Boy in the studio. Scuba Radio, Scuba Squad connected via the web. Barry the Bugger, Mermaid Kristen, Casey the Tobacco Nut, Jerry the Diver Guy rounding out the crew. And now we have the dive god, Neil Watson, with us as well to kick off Hour 2. Rumor has it, Neil, you're going to join us at Beneath the Sea in New Jersey at the end of March. Is that true? Is that the plan?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. You know, it used to be we'd do like 8 or 10 shows a year, consumer shows plus NEMA, and it was like almost a monthly get together with the gang. And then, you know, with COVID, all the consumer shows shut down and
right.
NEMA. And so this will be my first consumer show. Geez, that's before, you know, COVID. So I'm excited. It's a great show. It's really in the Bahamas market, you know, the Northeast.
Absolutely. Yeah. They'll be out there promoting, the Bahamas in one of the booths, or several of the booths for that matter. And he'll be there. And like you said, you go to these events. This is the first time Beneath the Sea has come back in like 3 years. So it's been a long time coming for that part of the country there. In Secaucus, New Jersey, the dive center of the universe at the end of March. I think it's the 25th, 26th of March, that Saturday, Sunday. Just look it up on a calendar, you'll see. But beneaththesea.us is the website. Also, Explore Ventures, they are donating a Northeast Caribbean liveaboard trip in the silent auction, along with a bunch of other cool prizes that you can bid on and stuff. We might have a few little extra things for folks when they walk into the show, especially on Saturday morning. You know, we may even have a mermaid on display, a real live mermaid, not an AI mermaid, the real deal in the flesh. Kristen is planning to join us up there. So it'll be a good time. Beneaththesea.us is the website. Plan to join us, and you'll see the dive god among many other dive industry celebrities. Now, Neil, we were talking in Hour 1 of why we dive. A very simple question, I wanted to throw this at you because you're the dive god. You've been doing this longer and have done more crazy things than anybody else in the world of diving, for that matter. And as I was saying earlier, I think sometimes companies in the industry or the dive industry doesn't put their best foot forward, or fin maybe, when we're talking to non-divers, as opposed to talking about like, oh, become a diver and you can save the planet and there's all these environmental elements and you can do beach cleanups. And that's a great thing. But sometimes I wonder if that gets lost in how we're sharing this with the non-diving public, as far as when we want to bring more people into the sport. So, I dive because it's fun. Are you with me on this? Do you see this kind of thing that happens, or maybe we need to promote that more, or what do you think?
I've always made it a point with my staff that works in the office that sells the product.
Yeah.
At least every couple of months, send them to the islands. Just, you could get complacent and really forget what an incredible sport we represent,
right,
and how much fun it is.
Yep.
And I can send my staff over. They can spend a weekend in Bimini or wherever, get out diving. And when they come back in the office, you can hear it in their voices when they're selling the product.
True.
The enthusiasm.
No, don't doubt about it. It's when you get out there and you start to dive, it's the ultimate way to kind of rejuvenate things. Just realize, especially if it's been any time spans between your last dive, and you get in like, yep, this is why I do this. And you got to be, we can easily take it for granted, I guess, is what you're saying, right? So, but as far as why it's like that, what do you think it is? To me, like I said, it's just because it's so much fun. I love the social aspects of it, of diving. CJ and Bubble Boy both we're talking about the Zen experience you get when you're diving. But what about somebody like you who has 4 or 5 Guinness Book of World Records, and when you go down underwater, what is it that you love about personally you love about diving?
Yeah, well, there's 2 categories of people. that experience weightlessness. There's astronauts.
Right.
There's scuba divers.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot easier to be a scuba diver than an astronaut.
True.
You know, I can take any person, child, adult, elderly person, put them in the water, breathing, weightless, underwater, and it's a life changer. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, good point.
And to me, I get that same experience after literally 70 years. This is my 70th year of diving,
Mm-hmm.
and I still, it's a form of Zen to me.
Yeah.
I can be stressed out. I can be worried about crap. I could go down for an hour, hang, float around, and come up, and it's an attitude changer for me.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of what CJ and Bubble Boy were alluding to too.
I second that.
Yeah, well, they'd be third, but that's fine. He's in the mountains of Virginia. Math isn't his strong.
Nobody's taking it behind me though.
But
not.
Yeah, but
Well,
you know, you touch on something, Neil. Yeah.
I mean, what got me into it is I can't sing. I can't play an instrument.
Yeah.
I never knew I was going to get groupies in a rock band.
Yeah.
I looked pretty good in a Speedo.
Oh.
And I heard that, teaching people to dive was the way to meet girls.
Oh, there you go. So as a way to pick up chicks, become a diver. That was his superhero, thing that he did back in the, and, if you Google Neil Watson from these videos in the 70s, you'll know why he was babe magnet, and that just, I never thought about that as being a reason, but especially back then, I'm not so sure that applies as much today. I don't think it works in that regard, but you did touch on.
Hey, you came up with, I think, a better plan than me, man, with a radio show, just traveling the world, having fun diving. I mean, what a gig, man.
Well, I got a great gig, but I don't think it helps get chicks or anything like that, but it's a different motivation. But you did touch on something that I think is pretty important, especially if you're a dive instructor, is that when you turn people onto it for the first time and you get to see, that joy just overwhelm them, or you see it on their face. And that is a really, a great feeling to be able to share this activity with other folks and friends and see how they react. And you're like, I might have did something good today. That's a good thing. It makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. You think?
But, the biggest thrill I used to get was doing resort courses. Somebody would be in the Bahamas with no intentions of ever going underwater. And they find out that they can take this resort course, and suddenly they're experiencing something that they never dreamed they would experience in their lifetime. And it was just life-changing for them. I mean, it was such a thrill to get people's reactions to trying scuba for the first time.
Yeah, and you tell them when you're telling them, hey, give this a go, because I've only had, two things I've liked. What are they? How do you describe diving? You never had a bad experience diving?
Be an astronaut, or you could be a scuba diver.
Oh, but you've never had a bad experience in the bedroom or underwater or something like that. All right, I'll get the quote.
I guess there's a third, that's skydiving, but the ground comes up awful fast.
Well, there's that. Okay. More coming up.
This is the Worldwide Scuba Radio Network.
Power, simplicity, reliability. It's what you demand of your dive computer, and Shearwater delivers. Shearwater evolved out of one tech diver's need for a reliable, easy-to-use rebreather dive computer and quickly became the tech market leader. Now recreational divers have taken notice. The Shearwater Taric is the best, most intuitive, and reliable wristwatch-sized dive computer on the market. Check it out and the entire line at shearwater.com. Shearwater, dive computers for demanding divers.
Come as a guest, leave as a friend. It's a philosophy that comes from the top down at Explorer Ventures liveaboards. It doesn't matter if you're traveling solo, with a buddy, or group. Explorer Ventures does the liveaboard dive experience right. For proof, know Explorer Ventures has one of the best repeat customer stats in the dive industry. They're also the official liveaboard company of Scuba Radio. You've likely heard us talk about Explorer Ventures Scuba Radio scuba cruise trips many times, and we invite you to join us on the next one. However, whether we're on on board with you or not. I'll bet an Explorer Ventures liveaboard trip will be one of the best dive experiences you've ever had. It just doesn't get any better. Saba St. Kitts, Turks and Caicos, the Galapagos, Maldives, Indonesia, humpback whales, and the Silver Banks, new destinations and itineraries are being added all the time. Call one of their talented travel consultants to find the Explorer Ventures liveaboard experience that's just right for you. 1-800-322-3577. That's 1-800-322-3577. Or visit explorerventures.com. That's explorerventures.com.
Scuba action star Mike Scott is back in a new audiobook, Cayman Cowboys, Reefs Under Pressure. From author Eric Douglas comes the one that started it all. Listen as Mike deals with submarines, kidnapping, betrayal, and more.
He didn't even have fins or a mask to let him see in the water. He was going to be slow and blind. If it weren't for the float, he knew there would be no way he would ever make it to the surface.
Download Cayman Cowboys or Oil and Water, Return to Cayman, Turks and Chaos, and Lionfish at Amazon, booksbyeric.com, and audible.com.
Prepare to rig for dive! Your surface interval is complete. You're now clear to dive with Scuba Radio.
Scuba Radio.
The world's first radio show devoted to diving.
Scuba Radio.
Dive, dive, dive.
Dad, we have a bug.
Bug hunter, he loves to hunt bugs. He's a diver with an attitude, an underwater thug. With stealth, speed, and agility, he combs the ocean floor. No matter how many bugs you catch, he's always gonna catch more. Yeah, he's the king of all the lobster slayers, and the word has gotten round. Everyone knows something's gonna die when the bug hunter goes down.
This is the world's first radio show devoted to diving. I am Greg the Dive Master. That is the Scuba Cowboy. Check him out, thescubacowboy.com. I believe he's in Florida touring right now, if I remember correctly. I could be off.
No, he was in, I think he's on Facebook. He was in Sarasota this week.
There you go. So go check him out if you can. You'll enjoy it immensely. And ask him if he's caught any bugs lately. Because, yeah, season's open right now. We should be catching lobster. Barry the Bugger knows this, but he hasn't brought it up at all. What kind of bugger are you?
Tax season.
The English kind.
The lame. Okay.
It is what it is. I can't help you with that.
All
Are
right.
you telling me that lobster pay taxes?
Maybe.
No. But I got to prepare taxes so I can afford to go out and get lobsters.
Uh-huh. All right. Well, that's a whole other thing. We got the dive guide on with us, and he's told us why he dives. After all these years, he still enjoys it, whether it's sharing it with friends and seeing their faces light up or just going for that Zen experience. Actually, a few years ago, Neil, you even mentioned to me that after all those world records you have, like deepest dive on air, 437 feet, which Guinness doesn't even recognize anymore because so many people died trying to break it because it was not a really good thing to promote from their standpoint and probably from any sane person's standpoint. You did it before we knew any better, I guess. But you have told me a few years ago that you dove so much in your earlier years that a lot of times you don't feel normal anymore unless you're down past 100 or so feet. It's like it makes all the pain go away or something. Is that right? Or do you remember that conversation or no?
Well, you give me a wall and I'm going to go down it.
Yeah.
But, I'm going to share something with you that's kind of personal.
All right.
I think my absolute worst sexual encounter and my absolute worst dive I did in my life both had one thing in common.
Okay.
They were both great.
Okay.
I've never had a bad dive.
Right. I'm right there with you.
There's always something. There's always something to think. I won't get into the other part of the question, but
yeah.
The part, yeah.
Okay. Well, fair enough. But as far as when you get up in years. I mean, I remember you telling me this, like you don't really feel normal until you're getting past 100 feet where the narcosis starts to kick in a little bit. That's just, from doing it so many years back in the day when you're really pushing the limits, or what do you think? What do you know?
It's a free cheap buzz.
It's a cheap buzz. Okay. That's right.
If the word ever got out, you'd have a dozen divers sitting around in a big circle at about 160 passing the regulator around.
Okay. Well, don't do what we say, or, we're not encouraging any of that. I just find it intriguing just the same. But Neil, always a pleasure. Thanks for those words of wisdom. I mean, the dive god has spoken. And especially when it comes to, best sexual experience and best dive. I mean, I think that's a quote we can all live by. Don't you agree?
It was worst.
What was it? It was worse?
It was his worst, he said.
Yes, right. Exactly. That. Okay.
All right, guys. We got to start thinking about hammerheads, and we got to start thinking about cruise ships.
That's right.
Amen.
We got some trips
Yep.
on the agenda. No doubt. We'll get her done there, buddy.
I want to see the hammerheads again, Neil.
Listen, see, she wants to go. Going on her birthday wasn't enough for Mermaid Kristen. So she wants.
Now I'm addicted and I need to keep seeing them.
Yeah. So, and by the way, we still got, at least a couple months of hammerheads over in Bimini, right?
Yeah, March and April.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, we could still get in there for the season.
Showing up almost every dive.
Right. Ooh. Joker. Is it Joker or?
Yeah, man.
How about that? Yeah, that was the tiger shark. Yeah. So, we may have to do that. That is definitely on the list of things to get scheduled. So we're working on it. But Neil, I'll let you get back to it. And thanks for checking in, my friend.
Have a good one.
There you go. The Neil Watson, the dive god. How about that? He has spoken. He is someone we can look up to and decide, like, could we ever be like Emdo? Could we constantly strive to be like him? Sure. There's always people you want to look up to. But did you notice what he said as far as why he dives? It's the same reason that we all have already pretty much covered.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So with all that said, has any of your reasons have they changed?
No, because his were the same as
just
mine.
Reaffirmed your belief, the Zen thing. Yeah.
My opinion, not a belief.
It's your opinion. What do you mean? Well, it's your.
I mean, it's not a fact. It's just my opinion.
Well, no, that's a fact for you, isn't it?
It's not.
It's your truth, CJ.
Oh, Jesus.
Own it.
Stop it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I didn't ask him about the AI mermaid thing.
That's probably for the best.
No, he is a big fan. He thought it was great, though. He did tell
He's
me
just
that
being
before
nice.
the show. No, he texted me. He said that was.
He didn't want to hurt your feelings.
He really enjoyed it. He was like, hey, this could be something big.
He knows you look up to him as a father figure, and he didn't want to hurt your feelings.
Why would you say that?
We didn't establish that, Barry.
Okay.
We didn't establish that.
All right. Well, I don't know why you guys are aren't willing to embrace technology and try to make this work for us.
We have embraced it. We just don't have to accept it.
What does that mean?
You just said one of the reasons.
Is that mountain logic? What is that?
Someone said one of the reasons why we like to dive is to get away from the technology.
Okay.
And just be one with the ocean there.
That's true. But look in the future.
With our Sherwood computer.
That's what I was going to say. Technology with our
hey, that could be
Sherwood
like
computers. Yep.
That might be an option that they offer with their computers in the future, where you can just tap a button on your Shearwater computer and it taps up your virtual dive buddy.
And if the computer is angry with you, it could say, "You got plenty of air left. Keep diving there, boy.
Cut your air off. You've had enough."
Mm-hmm.
No. I mean, think about that. A virtual Barry the Bugger to dive with as opposed to the real thing. You guys, I'm not
Barry. I thought you were talking about mermaids.
Well, anybody can be replaced by this technology.
Awesome.
Now you're changing
Good
your
idea,
tune, aren't you?
Great idea, Greg.
Okay. More coming up. Stay close.
Scuba Radio.
Scuba. Come as a guest, leave as a friend. It's a philosophy that comes from the top down at Explorer Ventures liveaboards. It doesn't matter if you're traveling solo, with a buddy, or group. Explorer Ventures does the liveaboard dive experience right. For proof, know Explorer Ventures has one of the best repeat customer stats in the dive industry. They're also the official liveaboard company of Scuba Radio. You've likely heard us talk about Explorer Ventures Scuba Radio scuba cruise trips many times, and we invite you to join us on the next one. However, whether we're on board with you or not, I'll bet an Explorer Ventures liveaboard trip will be one of the best dive experiences you've ever had. It just doesn't get any better. Saba St. Kitts, Turks and Caicos, the Galapagos, Maldives, Indonesia, humpback whales, and the Silver Banks, new destinations and itineraries are being added all the time. Call one of their talented travel consultants to find the Explorer Ventures liveaboard experience that's just right for you. 1-800-322-3577. That's 1-800-322-3577. Or visit explorerventures.com. That's explorerventures.com.
Prepare to rig for dive!
Your surface interval is complete. You're now clear to dive with Scuba Radio.
Scuba Radio.
The world's first radio show devoted to diving.
Scuba Radio.
Dive, dive, dive.
Take a look at it on the ocean floor. Just go down there, take your scuba gear and go down there. One of you would do that, I know.
Ain't no egos, never egos. No egos underwater. Oh, no egos underwater. Ain't no egos, no egos. No egos under.
This is the world's first radio show devoted to diving. I am Greg the Dive Master CJ and Bubble Boy in the studio with me. And we have the Scuba Radio Scuba Squad connected via the web. Barry the Bugger, Mermaid Kristen, Jerry the Diver Guy, Casey the Tobacco Nut. Yep. And all of them could be replaced with AI versions of themselves.
Okay.
It'd probably be a major upgrade.
You can't replace the real life mermaid.
Well, that's true. Kristen's the only one I think has something going for
People
her.
will be way more.
The rest of you losers, I'll tell you what.
Where
Soon
did
as-
you get your spring
Real,
water
fake,
from, Greg?
Who cares?
Wow. It's like all at once. And they
There'll
turn
be no
on you.
spring water.
You know, I'll tell you what, it would be such an easier life for me.
Who's going to drive to dinner
What do you mean?
if you replace me?
Uber, hello.
Okay. 'Cause I
Automated
always
driver.
drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, you know, just, I don't know, don't test me, gang. I could easily replace all
Okay,
of you.
let's depict this. Here we are at DEMA.
Yeah.
Greg's up on stage. What? Surrounded by large monitors of each of us?
Okay. No, they don't need to see. They wouldn't.
About the prizes. Things
Right.
right up.
They wouldn't need to see you, Casey, anyway.
Not
And
many hands to throw out goodies.
We just have a couple robot arms and have your voices synthesized. And you would, you know, everything I would say, you would oblige. You wouldn't argue with me on every little stupid point.
Who's going to correct you when you screw up?
Yeah.
I don't ever do that.
I see there would never be a screw up.
That never happens.
Well,
Exactly.
That could cause the AI to go into overload.
Now he's an alternate reality.
I don't think
He's an
you know
AR.
what you're talking about. I think you guys are, you're just trying to, you know, make yourself valuable, but you're not doing a very
being
good job.
brutally honest.
Good. That'll free up my Saturdays.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying, you know, technology could come and replace us all. I mean, I'm even in that.
Hey, you guys, this could be good. Instead of, you know, sitting in front of a microphone, we could just go diving.
Oh,
true.
We'll go dive and leave Greg here
We
doing
can
the
go
show with his
dive.
Greg
stupid
to talk to the
AI.
computer.
well, yeah, we
can
could.
go diving and listen to Scuba Radio while we're at it.
Yeah, you know, we
listen
could
to
do
our
that. If
AI selves.
we could have the
But we need
AIs.
full face comm masks to do the show while we're diving.
That's a lot of work.
No, it's AI.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. Yeah, let the
Yeah,
AI
idea
do
is
the
to
show
enjoy
for
the
us.
dive, Kristen.
We could be diving in an ocean
The
on
idea is to-
Mars.
The idea is
Doesn't
to
matter.
enjoy the dive
Yeah.
and
Well,
let Greg
exactly.
deal with this. Yeah.
No, that is an idea, though. We could just
Okay,
have
so,
the
yeah.
AI do the show for us, and we go dive instead.
Well, you still have to run the AI, so you'd have to stay back.
No. It's self-aware.
It's got to be better. It's got to be a better show. There's no way it could be worse.
Just pronounce one word.
Hey, I think we should try it, Greg.
Live from Wyoming.
Exactly.
It's Scuba Radio.
From Wyoming.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, it is crazy tech. It is interesting.
Now,
All right.
here's your host, Greg. The
All right, that's
master.
enough. Just be quiet. They don't talk like that. They sound better than most of us. So,
hey there, baby. What's going down?
all right.
I'm telling you, watch that movie, Megan. You won't be as interested in the AI as you are now.
Yeah. All right.
dumbass.
Hey, quit it. I'm just preparing for the inevitable
Jesus.
takeover of the machines.
The machine's taking him over.
Yeah. I mean,
Come on, we're over here, Greg. Come on,
Right.
look at us.
Well, no, I'm not
Way
paying
to put up
attention
a
to
fight,
you.
Greg.
Right.
Just invite him in.
No, there's some other stuff I did want to throw at you guys today. And I'll
Okay.
probably get the same reaction I've gotten so far, which is nothing. But I'm going
Go
to
ahead
try.
and pitch it, baby.
Okay. So I got a couple stories. One is about in-water compression. That's really diver deep stuff. Do you even know what I mean by that, CJ?
No.
Oh, okay. So say you're on an island in a remote part of the world.
I'm in an island in a remote part of the world.
Yeah. You're at an island, I should say, not in it. That would be
At
weird.
an island.
Okay, and you get bent. You went beyond the limits, or something happened, and you stayed down too long, and you got bent. But you're in some remote place in the world where they don't have a hyperbaric chamber handy.
Uh-oh.
So in-water recompression is something that has been talked about for years, but is not encouraged and frowned upon. It's just not something you do. But there's been some new research that has shown that actually there could be some benefits to this.
Now, how do they do this?
You would literally, like if you came up and you had symptoms, and they were, there's some caveats to this. The people you're diving with and the dive guides and the operation have to be very familiar with this process. But in the technical world of diving, if you're, pretty advanced, they're looking at this a little bit more like it could be a solution, as opposed to having a hyperbaric chamber you get to recompress, which basically to alleviate the symptoms of, tingling or getting the bends and stuff like that, which is bad. And if you're in some remote place of the world where you can't get to a chamber and it's like a day or two away, you got to be airlifted out or something, that time it takes to get to that chamber could be, the difference between a permanent injury or even life and death.
So how does this work?
Well, you jump back in the water with the proper supervision and go down to a certain feet, and they monitor you and watch
I don't think that'll work.
Well, no. Well, here's the thing.
That's gonna be fun if
That's
you're
what
feeling
we
like
have been.
crap.
Well, no, that's what we've been told for years. That it's not advisable. Don't do it. You never do that. And I'm not saying to do it. I'm just saying there's been some new research that came out this past year from some scientists that have been looking at this, and they're saying there actually is some validity to doing such a thing, because especially if you're in a really remote place and you're not going to be able to get to a chamber.
Well, the biggest
quick
problem
enough.
with it was that you had to recompress the bubbles, which means you have to go beyond where you were before to get enough pressure to do that.
No,
You have
that's
to-
not true. You just go back down to a certain depth and you off gas it at a different a lower depth. Now look, I'm just throwing it out there that what we've been taught as instructors, and Casey's saying this is an instructor, and I'm an instructor, Jerry's an instructor. You don't do this. This isn't something
Now,
we've always been taught. You never do this. But there has been some new research that come out that said we could have been wrong about that. There may be some advantages to possibly having that under these, very specific criteria.
What am I getting from this? That it's not ideal, but it's better than nothing.
Possibly. And the caveat there is it has to be structured very, very carefully. And that's why I go back to the operation, and the people you're diving with have to really know their stuff, because you can't just put someone back in the water and have them recompress, because they could go into convulsions.
Which
they
you
could have
guys
a problem.
don't, so.
Well, yeah, if you're just diving with friends that don't do it. But if you're a technical diver, like cave divers, Dr. Doug, and this is actually being probably something that we need to ask him about, because it's really coming out of the tech diving world. But it's interesting because, it could eventually filter down to recreational diving a little bit more, because like I said, it used to be a thing like, oh, no, you would never do that. There's no benefit whatsoever to doing it. And you're playing with fire. You're just going to make things worse. But they're actually learning that this actually, there could be some things coming down the pike that might change the way we look at this whole kind of thing of recompressing underwater.
Well, okay, I'm confused now, because when you've got the bends, you technically have bubbles out of solution.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're getting symptoms, that's the thing. The sooner you are treated, whether it's in a chamber or doing this in the water, are you better off than not? And I think that's what they're learning, that you could be better off. All right, more coming up. Stay close.
This is the Worldwide Scuba Radio Network.
Prepare to rig for dive!
Your surface interval is complete. You're now clear to dive with Scuba Radio.
Scuba Radio.
The world's first radio show devoted to diving.
Scuba Radio.
Dive, dive, dive.
Snorkel shot! Snorkel shot! Snorkel shot! Ever spend the weekend in the deep end? The water's finding y'all, so just come on in to the deep end.
Guys, I'm bringing the party to you.
Of a dive bar. Of this dive bar. Come on! Talking about a dive bar.
This is the world's first radio show devoted to diving. I am Greg the Dive Master. Okay, so if you want to look this up, you can Google it. Simon Mitchell is the guy who wrote the article, or gave a presentation on this in-water recompression thing that I brought up. He actually gave a speech at the dive talks in Portugal that our Lindo that we've had on the show before, from that dive show in Portugal. That's where Simon Mitchell gave the presentation. There's a video of him talking about this recompression, and like if you found yourself in a remote area and there was no compression chamber nearby, and for some reason you found yourself in trouble where you needed to be recompressed, it's always been taboo to never jump back up and jump back in the water and go down under pressure to try to, help yourself or fix yourself. That's always been a big, big taboo thing, and it still is. Don't get me wrong. I'm not encouraging people to do this, and he's not either. He's just saying that there is some benefit, though, that could happen from doing this, and the research is showing that if you can't get to a chamber within a day or so and you need some pressure treatment, getting in the water under the right supervision like that will make a difference, and could be the difference between having a permanent injury and, coming away unscathed. So it's not there yet. I'm just throwing it out there that this, could happen, or there could end up being a structure for this, a few years down the road if the research keeps going this way. And like I said, as a dive instructor myself, and Casey and Jerry in particular, we've always been taught, no, you never do that. There's so many things that could go wrong
I don't understand,
and make it worse.
Though, because you have to add oxygen in there somewhere to increase the off-gassing.
No, you don't. You're going down under pressure just like you would as in a hyperbaric chamber. You're instead of doing it in a chamber, you're doing it
the depth in a hyperbaric chamber to recompress the bubbles.
Right. And so if you go down underwater under depth, you're relieving some of the pressure that you're when you come up out of the water, that's what the problem. You came up too fast, or the bubbles didn't have enough time to dissipate. That's the problem. You know that, Casey. I mean, it's the physics of diving. Yeah, that's what causes the bends, and it creates problems depending on the level that happens. Depends on the severity of the element of the bends. It could be a mild Niglets thing, which is where cave divers
tingling in the fingers.
tingle in the fingers. They call it the
I can see a
Niglets.
possible benefit, but if you're hit with the bends to throw you back in the water, you have to go to a depth greater than where you were to recompress the bubble.
Well, I don't know. You got to watch whatever he found out. I mean, and once again, he did a study on this. Simon Mitchell. He's a diving scientist.
I'll look into it.
He knows his stuff. A friend of Roz. Roz brings him up, or Roz from the UK brings up Simon Mitchell quite a bit. He has quite the track record and is on the cutting edge.
Simon Mitchell.
Yes, that's exactly how she sounds.
Well, I mean, Craig, wouldn't Dick Rutowski know a lot about that also?
I have no idea who you're talking
He doesn't
about.
know Dick.
That was a football player, wasn't it?
No.
Okay.
He's like the grandfather of Nitros.
You're thinking of Dick Buckus.
Yes.
Dick
Oh, that's right.
Rutowski.
That's right. Well, all those scientific type, but Simon Mitchell's the one who did this talk
We need Dr.
in
Doug.
Portugal. Yeah.
Greg,
yeah,
has
and he'll
there,
know.
has there ever been any research as to say, you say as an instructor, you're taught never to do this.
Yeah.
Is there research that shows that this does not work, or is it what they're doing is their theory is that it would not
there's
work?
the theory is it won't work because there's too many variables. The big one being that if you were to go back in the water after potentially getting a bends hit, and you convulse, you choke, you pass out, you're dead. If you don't have someone right there with you or can, get you air right away, that kind of thing. There's a lot of parameters that could go wrong. And that's why I said at the outset of this, he even says look, this isn't going to be a recreational diving thing. If it's a technical diving outfit that's doing deep dives and pushing the envelope a little bit, extensive training,
Commercial stuff.
and not even commercial tech. And they're pushing limits. They're doing a little bit more extreme stuff. But if they're familiar with how to operate in that sense, then maybe this would be an option you have or a card that you could play.
That are completely different. In that situation, they're going to have oxygen, nitrogen, different gases necessary to help stabilize the air when you breathe it at depth. Whereas recreationally,
won't
you've
matter.
just got air.
Well, I don't know that it matters. Well, it does matter. Don't get me wrong. All dive boats will have oxygen on board. That's one thing. But as far as when
the quantity you need.
Well, I don't know if I don't know what they're they send them back down on. I mean, maybe it would depend, I guess, on what they're diving. If they're doing a trimix type of thing or technical dive and the gases and all that kind of stuff too. But if
would there be a point where you're bent, where if you don't do something, you'll die?
Possibly, of course, that could happen.
That's what you're asking.
Yeah.
It's when you learn CPR, you'll always have someone in the group that says, because they'll tell you may hear cracking of the ribs when you're doing it right, and they say, well, you're going to hurt them, and then the instructor will say, they're already dead. You can't hurt them much more. If you can get the heart going again, that's better than having a cracked rib.
Yeah, well,
you can mend a cracked rib. You can't mend a stopped heart.
Yeah, and that's the balance you got to judge. Look, if you're in some remote place where there's not a hyperbaric chamber where you can get the proper treatment, is this an option? Or what are the downsides of waiting 24 hours for a medevac or whatever? Compared to should this person get back in the water and should we try to recompress them and see if that'll help the situation? That's the thing, and that's where this could come into play, down the road. But right now, the research showing that it actually could make a difference, and it is showing signs that this could be a card that we could have available to us. It could have a positive impact a long term.
Did they give a depth to this or what? Like what they were taking them back down to or what?
No, it just depends on what you're doing, Jerry. You know that.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying their research or studying it, did they give a depth? Like is it 60, 70 foot or what?
Well, I think what he did is he looked at a bunch of incidents over time and then some stuff back in the day with the Navy, and I don't know. You got to look at you can look it up. Like I said, Google it, It's on
Oh,
Diving
interesting.
Talks
Oh,
from
I'll do
Portugal. But Simon Mitchell, in-water recompression. It's interesting stuff. And, you know, we're kind of deep in the weeds here because this is kind of pretty high technical diving stuff.
This is Scuba Radio. We
Yeah.
live in the weeds.
Well, you know, the reason I bring it up is not because it's ready now, but it's just like the AI. This could be the future. This might be something that we kind of open ourselves up to as another card to play if, God forbid, we got into any trouble.
I could see where on the boat maybe you have a special rig like oxygen.
Well, you know what'll happen is we're gonna have
mixed gas,
we're gonna have the we're gonna have the Scuba Radio AI mermaid on the boat.
No.
And we're gonna come up and you know Barry's gonna come up out of the water and goes, "Hey man, my knees are aching and I got a rash on the side of me. What do I do? What do I do, AI mermaid Kristen?" It's like, kiss your ass goodbye. No, she
I ain't touching him.
No,
yeah,
here's a
okay.
hat.
All right.
Here's a hat. Save me.
See, this is why we would be much better off in digital form. Anything to replace this crew will be an upgrade. On that note, we're going to wrap it up. Remember, it's always better. Where, gang? Come on.
Down where it is wetter.
Safe diving, everyone.
On the boat or down below, if you want to stay in the know. If you be pressurized there, you'll want to be there on Scuba Radio. Let's go!
Scuba Radio. Scuba Radio is a production of Overboard Entertainment Incorporated.
Scuba Radio. This seems the logical place for fish to congregate.
Remember, you can listen live or to archives of past editions of Scuba Radio worldwide over the internet at ScubaRadio.com.
So we're in international waters? Indeed so.
Tell a friend and buddy up with your radio every week for Scuba Radio, the world's first radio show devoted to diving.
Well, it's all very nice here, but we should be going. I miss me wife and me oxygen.
Yes, we all miss our loved ones and gases. Let's go.
The opinions you just heard on Scuba Radio are those of the hosts, callers, and guests.
Okay, you know, what I just heard? Blah, 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 blah.
They are not necessarily those of any station or network, its management, or advertisers.
Come on, quit yanking me.
Scuba diving does involve risk and should never be conducted without proper instruction and training.
Oh, what's the worst thing that could happen?
I could die.
Have any questions or comments? Feel free to do so via the web at ScubaRadio.com.